Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something straight from the heart. The version of you that you dream about, the one with success, peace, happiness, and confidence, doesn't just happen. You have to force it. You've got to fight for it. Growth is not natural. It is not automatic. If you don't deliberately chase growth every single day, life will hand you comfort, and comfort will kill your potential. Growth is intentional, not accidental. You must choose to improve every single day. This is one of the most powerful truths that many people ignore because they think growth will come naturally over time, or that life will somehow push them into becoming better. But that's not how it works. Growth doesn't just show up one morning. It doesn't sneak into your life and make you stronger, wiser, more disciplined, or more successful. Growth is something you have to make a conscious decision about every single day of your life. It starts the moment you wake up and decide to use the day to become a better version of yourself. That means being honest with yourself about where you are and where you want to go. It means looking in the mirror and saying, I am not where I need to be yet, but I will get there because I choose to grow. Most people live life on autopilot. They go through the motions. They wake up, do the same things, complain about the same problems, and expect different results. But real growth demands intention. It demands effort. You have to choose to learn when it's easier to ignore. You have to choose to act when it's more comfortable to sit still. You have to choose to reflect, to adjust, and to improve when you could just keep doing things the same way. And that choice isn't a one-time thing. It's a daily grind. It's waking up and deciding, even when you're tired, even when you're scared, even when you feel stuck, that today will not be wasted. It's about having the courage to do one thing better than you did it yesterday. Maybe that's how you speak to yourself. Maybe it's how you react to people. Maybe it's how you use your time. But it's always a choice. Choosing to grow daily also means embracing discomfort. Growth doesn't happen in the safe zone. It happens when you challenge yourself, when you expose your weaknesses and work on them, when you let go of your ego and open your mind. It's about reading instead of scrolling, practicing instead of complaining, taking responsibility instead of blaming others. Each of those small choices might not seem like a big deal in the moment, but over time, they build the foundation of a transformed life. Every book you read, every discipline you follow, every tough conversation you have with yourself, it all adds up. You don't have to make massive changes overnight, but you do have to be deliberate about taking steps. You do have to wake up and choose who you want to be and then go after it like your life depends on it, because it does. Growth isn't an accident. It's not luck. It's not about being born with some special gift. It's about deciding to do the work again and again, even when it's hard, even when no one's watching, even when no one claps for you, because you know deep down that staying the same is far more painful than doing what it takes to grow. Comfort zones are dangerous. They keep you from becoming the person you're meant to be. Most people misunderstand the comfort zone. They think it's a safe space, a place where they can relax and avoid pain, stress, or failure. But in reality, the comfort zone is the most dangerous place you can stay in if you have any intention of growing, achieving, or becoming anything greater than what you are right now. The comfort zone doesn't protect your future. It traps your potential. It tells you lies like, you're fine where you are, or you don't need to try harder. But those lies slowly destroy your ambition, your confidence, and your ability to stretch into the version of yourself that's waiting on the other side of effort. Inside your comfort zone, nothing grows. It's a place of repeat routines, familiar decisions, and predictable results. You don't take risks there. You don't challenge your thinking. You don't confront your fears. And without that discomfort, you stop learning. You stop evolving. You stop getting better. People often wonder why their lives feel stuck, why they keep facing the same frustrations, or why nothing ever changes. And it's because they're living in the loop of comfort. It feels easier, yes. It feels safe, but it also silently kills dreams, dulls passions, and weakens drive. Because there's no pressure, no urgency, and no growth where you don't allow yourself to be uncomfortable. Every meaningful breakthrough in your life requires stepping outside that zone. Whether it's public speaking, starting a business, going to the gym, setting boundaries, changing habits, or confronting deep insecurities. Growth starts when you say, "This scares me, but I'm doing it anyway." You have to learn how to do things afraid. You have to be willing to look foolish for a while, to make mistakes, to feel awkward, to not be good at something right away, because that's where progress is found. When you stretch yourself past what's comfortable, your mind expands, your skills improve, your faith strengthens, and your capacity increases. It's never easy, but it's always necessary. It's important to understand that the comfort zone can even feel good temporarily. It might come with fewer rejections, less pressure, and lower expectations from others. But over time, it starts to feel like a cage. A life without challenge becomes a life without purpose. And deep down, you know you were made for more. You know there's something inside of you that's meant to shine, to build, to influence, to lead. But that version of you is not living in your comfort zone. That version of you only comes alive when you challenge your limits and step into the unknown. Growth demands that you trade ease for effort, fear for courage, and routine for risk. The person you dream of becoming is on the other side of your discomfort, not inside the walls you've built to protect your ego. Comfort may feel safe, but greatness only comes through growth, and growth always begins at the edge of what's familiar. Discipline beats motivation. Do it even when you don't feel like it. Most people wait for motivation to strike before they act. They wait until they feel inspired, energized, or excited to take their first step. But the truth is, motivation is inconsistent. It comes and goes like the weather. One day you feel ready to conquer the world, and the next day you feel like staying in bed. If you rely on motivation alone to move forward in life, you'll always be inconsistent. And inconsistency is the enemy of progress. Discipline, on the other hand, is the game changer. Discipline means doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. It's a choice to honor your commitment, even when the emotions aren't there to support it. The people who succeed at the highest level in business, in relationships, in health, in personal growth, aren't the ones who are always the most motivated. They're the ones who have trained themselves to be disciplined. They don't negotiate with excuses. They don't allow feelings to dictate action. They build habits that operate regardless of mood. Discipline creates structure. Discipline creates consistency, and consistency creates results. When you show up every single day, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when it's uncomfortable, you start to see results. You build momentum. You become reliable to yourself. And that's how real growth happens. Not from a burst of motivation, but from the quiet daily decision to keep going. Discipline isn't always glamorous. It doesn't get applause. Nobody sees you waking up at 5 a.m., staying late to study, skipping the distractions, or turning down the easy path. But that's what separates you from the rest. Anyone can act when they feel good. Anyone can be productive on a high energy day, but only the discipline can keep moving when it's dark, when it's silent, when it feels like nothing is working. That's when discipline becomes your superpower. It allows you to rise above your emotions, your doubts, and your fatigue. It helps you make progress when motivation would have left you behind. There will be days when you don't want to do it, days when your mind will come up with every excuse imaginable. That's when discipline steps in. That's when you remind yourself why you started. That's when you show your future self that you're willing to suffer a little now for a greater reward later. Discipline is the bridge between dreams and results. It doesn't care how you feel. It only cares about what you do. And the more disciplined you become, the less you depend on motivation. You create a system, a lifestyle, a standard for yourself. You begin to take pride in your consistency. You no longer need to wait for a perfect mood or ideal conditions. You show up because it's who you are. You train your mind to lead your emotions, not follow them. And in doing so, you unlock a version of yourself that no longer needs permission to grow. Your mindset shapes your life. Think growth, speak growth, live growth. Everything begins in the mind. Before you can change your habits, your circumstances, or your results, you have to change the way you think. Your mindset is the lens through which you see the world, and it determines how you respond to challenges, how you view yourself, and what you believe is possible for your life. If your mindset is filled with doubt, fear, limitation, and negativity, then even opportunities will look like obstacles. But when your mindset is grounded in growth, belief, purpose, and resilience, you start to see possibilities where others see problems. You start to act with courage instead of hesitation. And you begin to walk with a sense of confidence that can't be faked. A growth mindset is not just about believing you can improve. It's about living every day like improvement is your responsibility. You understand that failure is not final, that mistakes are lessons, and that effort is never wasted. You stop being afraid of hard things and start welcoming them as necessary parts of the process. Your mind becomes your greatest ally, pushing you to learn, to adapt, to evolve, and to stay hungry for more. When you think growth, you stop settling. You stop letting your past define your future. You begin to make decisions based on where you're going, not where you've been. That's the power of mindset. It pulls you forward when everything else tries to hold you back. But it's not just about thinking growth. You have to speak it too. The words you say out loud become the story you tell of yourself. If you're constantly saying, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, or it's too late for me, then those words take root in your mind and become your truth. You start to limit yourself without even realizing it. But when you speak life, when you declare strength, when you say, I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm improving, even if you're not there yet, your mind begins to shift. Your body follows your language. You begin to act in alignment with the person you're becoming. Speaking growth is an act of faith. It's how you start building belief before the results even show up. And most importantly, you have to live growth. Thinking it and speaking it are powerful, but they only reach their full potential when backed up by action. Living growth means making choices that reflect the future you want. It means surrounding yourself with people who stretch you, not shrink you. It means using your time for things that build you up, not break you down. It means being intentional with your energy, your habits, your learning, and your goal. When your actions match your mindset, that's when transformation begins. You become a living example of the growth you believe in. You don't just talk about progress, you embody it in the way you move, the way you speak, and the way you show up every day. Small steps every day lead to massive transformation over time. One of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to change their life is believing that it has to happen all at once. They think success is about one big decision, one giant leap, or one major breakthrough. But that's not how real growth works. Real transformation is built slowly, step by step, with small, consistent actions that compound over time. It's waking up each day and doing one thing that moves you forward, even if it's just by an inch. It's choosing discipline over comfort, learning over entertainment, effort over ease, one moment at a time. When you focus on the big picture alone, it can feel overwhelming. The mountain looks too high, the journey too long, the obstacles too many. But when you break it down into daily steps, one workout, one page, one honest conversation, one better habit, it becomes manageable. Those small steps may not feel like much in the moment, but they are shaping you. They are building your habits, your mindset, your confidence, and your momentum. Every time you show up, you prove to yourself that you're serious. You build trust in yourself. You create patterns that eventually become part of your identity. That's where real change happens. In the unnoticed decisions, in the quiet discipline, in the unseen hour. People often underestimate the power of 1% better every day. But over time, those little improvements add up in ways you can't even imagine. Think about a drop of water hitting a rock. One drop doesn't do anything. 10 drops still don't seem to matter, but over time, those drops wear down that rock. That's what consistency does. It turns effort into impact. The key is not perfection, it's persistence. You will have bad days. You will slip. You will feel tired and tempted to quit. But if you keep showing up, even imperfectly, you're still growing. You're still in motion. Small steps also help you stay grounded in the process, rather than obsessed with the outcome. When you fall in love with the daily grind, with the act of improving just a little bit every day, you stop needing results to validate your effort. You start to enjoy becoming better, not just achieving more. That shift in mindset changes everything. You no longer wait to be proud of yourself. You don't need applause or instant success. You begin to see the beauty in progress itself. You understand that greatness isn't found in a single moment, but in the hundreds of small moments where you chose growth when no one was watching. There's power in showing up daily. There's power in stacking small wins. There's power in being relentless with the basics. And eventually, those small steps turn into a big shift. What once felt impossible becomes your new normal. What once scared you becomes part of your strength. And the life you dreamed of slowly starts to take shape, not because of one big act, but because of 1,000 small ones that you didn't give up on. The best investment you will ever make is in yourself. It's not in the stock market, not in real estate, not in a business deal, and not in any material thing you can buy. The greatest return will always come from what you put into your own growth, mindset, skills, habits, and health. Too many people spend their entire lives trying to impress others, chasing things outside of themselves, trying to look successful instead of becoming someone of true value. But the truth is, everything you're chasing starts with who you are becoming. The stronger, wiser, sharper, more focused, and more disciplined you become, the more life begins to open up for you in ways that nothing external ever could. When you invest in yourself, you are building a foundation that no one can take away from you. People can strip away your titles, your money, your possessions, but they can never take away your mindset, your knowledge, your character, or your growth. That's why personal development is not optional if you want to elevate your life. It's a daily commitment. It's choosing to read instead of scroll, to practice instead of complain, to seek wisdom instead of excuses. Every podcast you listen to, every book you finish, every hour you dedicate to learning and growing adds layers to your future success. You are either building or breaking your future by the way you treat yourself today. Investing in yourself also means taking care of your body, your mental health, and your spirit. You can't function at your best if you're running on fumes. Self-care is not laziness, it's strategy. It's how you preserve your energy, recharge your focus, and show up with power. The food you eat, the way you move your body, the rest you give your mind, It all matters because when you're strong physically, emotionally, and spiritually, you handle life differently. You lead better, think clearer, work harder, and bounce back faster. Another powerful way to invest in yourself is by surrounding yourself with people who challenge you to grow. If you're always the smartest, most driven, most disciplined person in the room, then you're in the wrong room. Growth thrives in discomfort. Find people who inspire you, who hold you accountable, who push you to think bigger. Pay for coaching, attend workshops, take courses, get uncomfortable. You are not spending money, you are planting seeds in your future. And when you show the universe that you take your growth seriously, life starts to respond. Doors begin to open, opportunities start finding you, not because of luck, but because of preparation. Your habits, your mindset, your attitude, and your energy. All of it is within your control. And when you take ownership of your development, when you stop waiting for someone else to fix it or hand it to you, you take your power back. Every single day you have a choice to get better or stay the same. Growth is available, but you have to reach for it. You have to treat your life like it matters enough to be built intentionally, not passively live. Because the more you grow, the more value you bring to everything you touch. Your work, your relationships, your goals, your legacy.